Good morning, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. Welcome. Our Philippine journey. Mike and Arlen, we really appreciate you stopping by. Thank you, subscribers, viewers, commenters, both positive and negative. Okay. Should you have expat friends? And we could say in the Philippines, should you, but we could say this in probably any country. But for us, we apply it to the Philippines because that's where we live. So let's talk about it.
Why'd you have to go? I guess this world's too slow for you. I think there's beauty in the gray, the cold, but you just want the gold. And there's no way I can beat it, cause I got no chance, no chance when it comes to her. She got the glitter and the fame, and I just wasn't enough.
Okay. Should you have expat friends? Well, I know we're going to get, there's going to be a number of negative points in the comments here. And we fully understand that. And we welcome you to even say it, okay? We really and truly do. It doesn't hurt our feelings in any way, shape, or form. And that's part of the answer that I'm giving you. Why should you have expat friends? I mean, you've moved to a different country, you're looking at assimilating into a different culture. Why would you have need of friends from your own culture? Well, for a couple of different reasons, we think that they are not just there, but they're necessary, quite frankly, and that they do represent both good and bad points. So, for instance, good friends are hard to come by. And when I say good friends, I'm talking about somebody that you would happily give a key to your place when you're out of town for a month. Somebody that you could say, hey, can you drop by and water my plants for me? Can you come by and run the water in my place and flush the toilets and this and that while we're gone? Can you take care of this? Can you take care of that? Oh my gosh, Arlen is sick. We're at the hospital. Is there a chance you could drop by our place and pick up XYZ? That's happened to us. We've had friends whose husbands were in the hospital, and their wife said, "Can you come by and drop by our condo? This is where the key is, or this is the combination to the they had digital lock." And get XYZ for me and bring it to the hospital. I'm going to be here for a while. Um, you know, Secondarily to that, advice, not just advice you blindly follow, just like you don't follow friends' advices. I think the most important part of picking friends, not acquaintances, but friends, and we have maybe 7 friends. All right, after 10 years in the Philippines, we have maybe 7 friends. And of these 7 friends, we all have something that is so simple, and that's the ability to agree to disagree. Now, I don't mean in an argument to argue about things and try and bring out your points, but what I mean is that the reason you may have friends is so that you see different opinions. You see things differently. You see things, or you are told things through the eyes of somebody else and how they interpret their experience. And it may be very different than yours. And you should keep that in mind. And you don't have to agree with it. I mean, we have friends that, quite frankly, we were sitting around. So the other day, one of our friends decided, hey, I got a new grill. Let's cook hamburgers by the pool. So we went and we cooked hamburgers. And amongst our friends, there were people there that weren't friends. All right. There were acquaintances. Okay. But one guy would say something, and another one, who's a great friend of both of us, would say, "Oh, you're full of shit." No, that is not the way it goes, but it's in joking, it's in jest. Okay? These people having that ability, there are studies out there that actually say that having friends has a positive impact on your mental health. Why do I like having friends? Well, first off, we have Filipino friends and we have American friends and we have a British friend and we have an Australian friend, acquaintances. Okay. Actually, I'll be very honest and upfront with you. All of our friends are Americans. I'm not going to lie about that, but it's because we have so much in common. But we have many acquaintances otherwise that come from different countries. But with that being said, is the ability to agree to disagree. The ability, are you going to be as mature as they are? And sometimes we think we're more mature. All right. Isn't that typically American? We think we're more mature than they are, and they think they're more mature than we are. And our friends, not acquaintances, but friends, run the gamut financially. And we don't even we don't restrict ourselves to people who are of high net worth. One of our friends is an incredibly nice guy, 80 years old. Okay. He's been in the Philippines for years, worked all his life, the whole 9 yards, the typical story. And yet he is very average. He would have a average retirement in the U.S., an average retirement income. It would not be exceptional by any way, shape, or means. We have other friends that have super high net worth. All right. And when keep in mind, I'm used to the business world as well as the medical world. And in the business world, in the world of investing, there's a strict criteria of what is a high net worth individual. And that's what rings in my mind as I give this discussion. Okay. And this guy certainly is way up in that high net worth point. But we have friends that range from very modest lifestyles to extravagant lifestyles. It doesn't matter. We have friends that we have very much in common with opinions and ideas and everything that goes along with that. And friends that probably 30% of the time we just don't quite agree with a couple of different subjects. I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to point out anybody, but they're not deal breakers by any way, shape, or form. What's important to us? Integrity, honesty, all right, the ability to agree to disagree. And then finally, why even bother, Mike? You could do this with Filipinos. Yeah, we could. And we do have Filipino friends. But sometimes we want to have conversations that are complicated, conversations that require having lived a lifetime in the U.S., having seen different changes politically, economically, socially in the U.S., friends that have children. All right, adult children or children that are just becoming adults like mine. All right, what have they gone through? Friends that have been through all of the different things. We were talking the other day at this barbecue, and people were talking about different contractors that they use to remodel their condo. Several of our friends have been here for quite a while, and they've done remodels more than once. Okay, we've got one friend that's been here going on 20 years, and he's remodeled his condo about 3 times. All right, that kind of information is invaluable. It will help me pick my contractor, maybe utilize his contractor, maybe utilize some of his ideas, go to his place, take a look at the things that he did. Those are all interesting. Friends are somewhat necessary. They are there for emergency fallback. They are there to bounce ideas off of. They are there to have decent conversations. I mean, I have very good in-depth conversations with Arlene. She's smart. She's educated. She lived in the US. But there are still things. I mean, Arlene never raised a kid. Sometimes, although I don't follow the advice I get from some of these guys that have raised kids, I want to hear about the mistakes they think they made. I want to avoid that with my child. Sometimes we talk about other things. They're all important. I think friends are important. More than that, I would put this caveat in there. When you pick your friends, pick them wisely. Do not make friends overnight. Okay? Give it time to sort itself out so that you know how they feel about different things. I mean, I would say none of these people became our friends in less than a year. We've known all of them for years, and none of them became our friends within a year. It was all we always, you guard your valuable information, you guard your personal information. I mean, but that goes with anywhere. It really and truly does. Friends are something that we think are important. Friends are something that we like, for instance, tonight. Tonight, we're meeting a group of friends for dinner, and then we'll probably go out and have a cocktail or two. And that's it. And we'll laugh and we'll joke and we'll make fun of things. And they'll make fun of things that I'm like, oh, really? And then maybe I'll make fun of things and they're going to go, come on, Mike, that's bullshit. No way. It does happen and it does transpire. So think about it. Don't just walk away. You're going to see all these comments out there that says, I won't hang around other expats. I don't want the toxicity. And my reply would be, perhaps you should look further afield. Now, in the provinces, it's much different, I think. You're very limited to the exposure depending on where in the province you're at, okay? To the number of friends that are number of people that are available to be friends. That is a factor that would certainly say to me, in the province, do I do it? No, I don't have any friends in the province at all. I don't. I think there might be 4 or 5 expats that live in our little city in the province where our home is. And I never even see them, much less interact with them. Some of them are there only part-time. But in the cities, if you're going to live in Manila, Makati, BGC, okay, Davao, Cebu City, IT, Dumaguete, any of the places that have heavy tourist influx and heavy expat populations, you can't help but run into them. You can't help but be exposed to them. So why not find out what kind of information they can share with you? We're never too old to learn something. Old dogs do learn new tricks. To quote an old saying, I guess. Old dogs don't learn new tricks or something, but I think old dogs can learn new tricks. So I don't know. In the comments below, and feel free to voice a real opinion. Please do let us know. Otherwise, we would appreciate it if you would subscribe, hit that thumbs up, share, everything like that goes along with that. Thanks so much and have a great day.